Hey friends, it's Judy Clock, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia, and I'm coming to you tonight with a fun little tutorial for a mini album. Now this album was first demonstrated by Field Success Manager Elizabeth Belleville at Onstage, and I thought I would share it with you today. All of the measurements for this album will be on the inspiration sheet, which is inside the Crafty Collective Inspiration Vault, which is for subscribers. So I'll drop the link below in the comments so that you can, in the description, so that you can be sure to subscribe and get all of the inspiration sheets for all of my videos since the beginning of January. All right, ready? Let's get started and let's move our cameras. Okay, there we go. Now we're working. So this was the adorable little album that Elizabeth showed us at Onstage, and you kind of open it up. Now this one is for my daughter. I did it for her birthday. It's a combination of many different stamp sets, and that's what I love about this is that you can use whatever you want. There's a little pull-out section here for you to write a note on. Then you flip the page over, and it's got another little pull-out, which, surprise, surprise, is hiding a gift card behind it. So just another little fun surprise in there in that little pocket. You don't need to do the insert. You could certainly just put the gift card right in this pocket. And then this opens out where we've got some more pages. I added a little journaling block, but we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of do the basics today. I'm not going to go ahead and do all of the embellishments and add all the pictures and all that because once you sort of understand the basic concept, it's very easy to just kind of repeat. So we've got here a piece of 12 by 12 paper, scored it in 3 even sections and then scored it in half, made a cut here and here, and then I cut this piece in half and I added some circles to so you can get the inserts in and out easily. Now, what I did notice on my sample was that sometimes when you cut along those score lines, you've still got like a little piece there. So I'm going to come in with my paper snips and just kind of trim that off just to make it be a little bit easier to fold up and not sort of get in the way. So we're going to do that there. Come up here and take this off. Okay, and then we're going to do that over here. I got to see which side kind of is a little bit longer, this one. And when you look at it, it'll be very apparent where you sort of got that score line marking and where you just kind of want to trim. So it might be, on one side, it might be on the other, but you'll find it and you'll be able to just kind of trim it off. And again, this is just an optional step that I chose to do. Okay, putting this back down this way. Now this is the two-tone cardstock. So make sure that when you go to cut it, I actually wanted the darker yellow side out, but I wasn't paying attention when I went and did my cuts. So I ended up with the lighter side out, at least here. The darker side will be on my front panel. So I guess maybe it did work out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some liquid glue here and here, and then I'm going to fold that up. So I'm going to add some liquid glue here and here. Okay, we're going to fold that up, maybe, if I can get it to fold up. Okay, and then I'm going to add some liquid glue on the left and right sides on this little pocket. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to kind of push these down. Just kind of give it a minute. Now remember, you don't want any glue here because that's your pocket opening, and you don't want any in the top because that's your pocket opening. I'm going to fold this way, fold this back, and fold this in. And there is my little album. Now let's go ahead and add some decorations to it because that's what makes it fun. So the first thing I want to do is I want to be able to tie it closed. So I'm going to take, this is Darling Duckling. I'm going to take some Darling Duckling ribbon, probably about 6 inches for each side, maybe 7 inches. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces. And I'm going to adhere one piece here on the front, somewhere I had tape that's now walked off Oh, I see it. It's on the other table. Like, I literally had the tape on right by my desk, so I wouldn't have to go looking for it, and I still had to go looking for it. So you never know. All right, we're going to tape that down. I'm going to flip it to the back. I'm going to not use the part that's still on the spool. We're going to use the part that we cut. And we're going to tape this down. Now this will be covered by our designer series paper that I've already cut. So I've cut a whole bunch of different pieces here. Make sure. So I want to put one on my cover. I want to use the one that has more of that darling duckling for my cover. I'm going to go ahead and add this. Okay. All right. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to add one to the back. And this was the, I think this was the February product of the month, this designer series paper. So pretty. How many of you have been loving the product of the months? All right, so now we've got that. Now we're going to come in here to the front piece. This piece, I'm going to add a piece of Lost Lagoon. No, not that one. Oops, wrong one. A piece of Lost Lagoon and a piece of that pretty designer series paper. So again, you could use Stampin' Seal, you could use liquid glue, you can use tear and tape, whatever you want. But just make sure that you have this all ready to go. Now, all of the measurements for all these layers will be on the inspiration sheet in the inspiration library. So make sure that you are a member of the Crafty Collective Inspiration Vault to get all the info. Okay, now this page I'm going to leave blank for now because I'd probably add pictures and some stamping there. This is going to be my insert. I'm going to add some liquid glue. I'm going to add that piece of white. And this is so that you can write a note to your recipient. Now you can make this more of a card, like a card to make a gift. You can make it more of a mini album. It's really up to you what you want to do with it. I'm going to punch a hole about midway. Okay, I'm going to add my darling duckling ribbon. This just makes it easier to pull out when it has these little ribbon tabs on there. Okay, there we go. Put that through the hole. And then I'm going to tie it together with some white baker's twine, which I had somewhere. Baker's twine is such a great all-purpose twine. Just a great all-purpose embellishment. All right. This is, I tell you, this is harder than it looks, folks. And I keep, okay. I keep making a mess with this. Let's see if we can get it this time. There we go. Maybe not. I can't get it to go through. Okay. There we go. There's one. Sort of, maybe. If I can get it to pull it tight. There we go. And I like to tie it again in a knot just to make sure that stays nice and tight on there. Then we're going to tie it in a ribbon, in a bow rather. It is a ribbon or a twine or embellishment, but it's going to be tied in a bow. Okay, and then we're going to trim it up. Just like to put these down a little bit. Not that much. All right, good enough. I'm making a big mess. So let's get this done and move on. Wow, that was hard. Okay, trim that, And then I'm going to trim this. And this goes right in to this little slot. And then you have a nice little place to write a note. Okay, here, again, I'm going to leave this blank because we're going to do stamping and add some die cuts to that later. But I've got my insert piece here, so I'm going to go ahead and add some, well, first I'm going to add this piece on the top. Again, to write a note or to embellish. I like to have some places where you can write little different things. So, you know, if you're giving like maybe you're giving like a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts gift card, you could put on there like maybe a date and a time when you could meet the person for coffee or lunch or whatever, kind of like a little pre-planned celebration. If it's for a thank you, you could just write a little note of thanks there too. Okay, we're going to put that up. I've got some more designer series paper here. Okay. That one goes in there. This one goes on the front. So pretty. Love this paper. Okay, let's put the yellow side up. Okay, and again, we want to be able to have this pull out easy. So I'm going to punch a hole. We're going to go through that whole rigmarole, but I'm not going to do that on film. You know the deal. We're going to thread the ribbon through here and then tie it with the twine, just like we did. And then this slots into this little section here. And then I've got some last pieces of designer series paper to put in. And then this is where you can add pictures. You can add like little writings, like note cards where you want to say, you know, something about the pictures, maybe something about the time you spent together, depending upon what you're using this for. I can't even see what I'm doing here. But there is that one. And you could use any designer series paper you want. I didn't mat these on cardstock purposely because I didn't want to make the album too thick or too heavy. So I just went with the designer series paper. It adds just a little bit of color and it makes it kind of pretty and interesting without adding a lot of extra weight. Now, if you want to, you can certainly go ahead and mount these on cardstock like I did on the inside cover, but that's absolutely not necessary. And I love these papers where there's no one-way design. So that is our little mini album. And how fun are those? So I'm so grateful that Elizabeth Belleville shared this with us and that I was able to now show you and share it with you. I love this. So many candles. But yeah, that's my little mini album with my little girl, not Lil, with my girlie Sam. And I just wrote the best days are when I get to share with you. Because it's true. She's a good daughter. So that's it for this edition of Stampin' with Crafty Clock. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll have a new video out next week. See you then. Bye.